Good morning, loves, bright and shining and early from Malibu. Actually was up since 6 a.m. I was on a live women's summit that was based in Cyprus. So I've been awake since like 5:30 this morning. And on this summit, I shared about this. And as we're coming into the age of feminine leadership, that means us ladies get to create the kind of world and business that we desire. And this is a message for both men and women, all genders, regarding those of us that get our period and our menstruation. And PMS and all that is not just like some made up thing, and it's not something to be taken lightly. And whether you are someone who receives your period or you're someone who's around people who get their period, you're gonna wanna listen up. Because for so long, women were just expected to push through it. Oh, it doesn't matter if you're bleeding, you just keep pushing through. The truth is that men lose their life force through their semen, which is why learning to orgasm without ejaculate is a way for men to really grow and hold on to their power. Women lose their life force through their menstrual blood. And there are tantric techniques that can prevent, you can actually learn to stop your period, and as a form of birth control too, using certain type of breath and energy movements and etc. That's not what this video is about though. But the idea is during that time, you're losing energy. And taking the first day or two off is very, very potent and powerful in your life. And you actually gain so much from taking that time for yourself to regenerate your energy and heal in a sense. And I once had a guy, I still have a friend, my friend Patrick, he wanted to create this app where women could track their cycles and their employers would know which part of their cycle they would be on. Why? The reason is because we as women are 4 different women through the different cycles of our menstruation time. So when we are just, we have a time where we're like so alive and we just want to be out in the world, and this is when we're ovulating, and this is when we're really magnetic and we just have so much energy. But in the days before we get it, we are definitely in a phase where we're a little less tolerant to things. And then when we're in the phases of actually bleeding, we're in a phase 2 where it's like being under the radar. Relaxation, rest, sleep is most nourishing and important. And so many women through the ages have suffered from terrible, terrible pain. And oftentimes it is how our body is communicating with us that we are not operating in self-care. But when you start to operate from not hustling and overdoing, you actually can relieve yourself of all pain symptoms. And most women have taken different types of medicine to even deal with the symptoms and the pain and all of that. But the truth is, your body is so intelligent that if you have pain, it's telling you something, that you need to change your routine. Maybe you're working too much, etc. And back in the day, in the days of the native times, there was something called red tent. And red tent was when all the women who would menstruate would go to this tent and they wouldn't do chores and they wouldn't work and they would just relax and be with themselves. Another reason why is we as women have really powerful mystical powers that awaken during our menstruation. And that pain and that we feel like a buzzing and a vibration in our system. And when we go into that, we can literally go into trance and into meditative states to receive intuitive wisdom and guidance during our menstrual time. And also in the days where a lot of herbs and things were being grown, that menstrual blood was given back to the earth. So because it's so powerful, it's actually one of our most powerful times is when we're bleeding as women. And we are tapping into so many different energies. So it's actually a gift. It's not something to be like, oh my gosh, but it's something to really embrace. And it's something where really giving yourself permission to take time off. The first 2 days off is so, so important. And it's really supportive for you as a woman, and it's supportive for everyone in your life. Because if you show up to the world with energy that's like not so great, like everyone feels that. So why go with less energy? Why go and do stuff when you're in pain? Like, just rest. Or if you're tired and fatigued, just rest. We're creating a new paradigm here. And the new paradigm is really about creating life on our terms and what works for us. And we're not here to like hustle and push and make things happen. No. And I want to share a funny story because I usually know, I don't necessarily always track it so precisely, but I know when it's coming because I get so emotional. Like the littlest things could turn, like yesterday I was like, ooh, I was like crying and like so upset because one of my fire alarms, the battery was going out. And it happened at like 2 a.m. 2 nights ago. And then I was able to push the button. And then my neighbor came to help me because I have really high ceilings and like you have to stand on the top of the ladder and it's like super scary. So I like called the neighbor and the neighbor came and he went to go pick up the battery, but then he had to do something and couldn't put the battery in. So then I was like, oh, I want someone to help me. And I just like let myself feel the emotions. Or if my assistant made like a mistake with something, I'm like, no one supports me. And so I just let myself feel the emotions. And I think that it also as men watching this, like really being sensitive to when your woman is on her cycle or right before, because the truth is she'll be most emotional like right before. And you won't win a fight during that time. Don't try to argue, just bring chocolate and bring sweets and be really sweet and be like, honey, what can I do for you? And there's these beautiful apps now where you can track your cycles. Like, you know, your partner, you can know what stage your partner's in and how she's feeling. And I've helped so many couples like save their relationship through just tracking your cycle. When the man knows where the woman is in her cycle and he understands that she has different personalities that are going to come out, and instead of taking it personally or thinking she's crazy or too emotional, like, no, as women, that's our superpower is our emotions. And at different stages in our cycle, it fluctuates. And if you're a man and you understand that, you're going to like win any woman's heart. And if you're a woman, and instead of judging yourself for your emotions and judging yourself for where you are in your cycle and how you're feeling, or if you feel really upset and be like, I'm not supposed to feel upset, versus just allowing yourself to feel upset, you'll have such a different experience. And even growing up, like with my sisters, and we would know when someone was coming close to their moon cycle. And the reason, if some of you don't know, I call it a moon cycle also because it usually we'd be in sync with the moon, where on the full moon you ovulate and on the new moon you would bleed. And it is about a 28-day cycle that syncs with the moon. So synonymously, you can use your menstrual cycle with moon cycle, depending on what you like to say. And we would always know in our household, because we were like a household of women, my dad was on his own, but he would know too, like, we would say, maybe it's time to go lock yourself up in your room, right? Because when you get into that emotional storm, it's really not controllable. It is a hormonal thing, and you can just allow yourself to ride the waves. And I think for so long, like, it's been a toxic thing that people say to women of like, you're too emotional, you're too much. Like, no, this is the physiology of the feminine. And the beautiful thing about the feminine is our emotions. Like, witnessing a woman that's really honoring her true, authentic nature and emotions is one of the most beautiful things we could ever witness on the planet. And really, it's what men secretly crave, right? They say, oh, you're emotional, but I've even had partners that would like on purpose want to get me riled up, right? Because they actually like it, but it's not that you don't want to do that, right? You just like allow the natural emotions to flow. And a lot of the work I do when I'm working with women is helping women unleash their emotions and their authentic true self. And one way you can do that is just like honoring your cycle. Like, when you feel your menstrual symptoms, like, feel them. But maybe it's not a time for you to be working or dealing with people. It's a time for you to be more in your inner sanctum, creating a safe, healing space for yourself with warm foods and nurturing foods, and really taking time for self-care and doing nothing and allowing your body to go through the cycle that it needs to go through. And it's important for men to know about this, just as it's important for women to know about this. And it's not something to shun or to need to hide. If anything, it's important information so we can all better relate with each other. So what I would love for women to walk away with from this live today is that give yourself permission to take your first and second day off, or as long as you have pain, take off. For as long as it's very heavy, take off. And to feel your emotions, not directing them at anyone, but if you're upset, cry. If you feel angry, like have a tantrum. Like let yourself feel in a safe space that you create for yourself in your bedroom, that you just allow yourself that time for your self-care. Go into deep meditative processes, because that's when you're really right for them. And what I would love for men to take away from this public service announcement is to really honor the many phases of your woman, her wildness, her emotionality. Like, let her be the beauty of what she is in all of her faces and forms. And if there's a way that you can have her let you know where she is on her cycle and how she's feeling every day, so that you can work with her in that versus judge her or blame her, and to remember when to not really try to like have a discussion or a debate with her, because if it's during her moon or before, you're not gonna win. But if you're strategic, when she's in her ovulation time, then you'll win. You'll always win. You'll get anything you want, and just being strategic. And the same goes for us. The more sensitive we are in our relationships with ourselves and each other, this is how we really enhance our human experience. And we really come to live our ultimate life in our ultimate relationships. So with that, I just wanted to share this public service announcement. I'm Dr. Nikki Starr. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.